بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على محمد خاتم النبيين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم افتح فتوح العارفين اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. Alhamdulillah, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has gathered us here in this blessed majlis, a majlis of hub, a majlis of love, where the souls have their feasts. The souls that are yearning for that love and that hub. In the Arabic language, hub literally is taken from the same word as the word which is used for seed. Hub, hubub. And that's exactly what it is. Because love finds its way into the hearts. And it plants inside the heart. And it goes deep inside until it manifests as a beautiful flower inside the heart. If this Rabiul Awwal we couldn't find that seed, we couldn't embed it into our heart of the love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with all these majalis that we've been doing, all these Shamail classes that we've been having, then something's gone miss. Our intention was corrupt or something was going wrong. Our shortcomings are one side, but the name that we say of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is great. And great in the eyes of the one who is Azim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for that reason we have hope with that name, that Allah gives these majalis qubuliyah, that Allah gives us openings in our hearts, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks upon our hearts with mercy and He gives us that hub and that love of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Through that hub of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ittiba comes, and ittiba will gain you access to that, the close quarters of the Prophet ﷺ on the Day of Judgment. May Allah make us of them, inshallah. You will be with the Prophet ﷺ in accordance to that knowledge of him, to the ittiba of him, and as much salawat as you send to him. So get closer to the Prophet ﷺ by that. But it always stems from knowing him, isn't it? And if we couldn't be there in his time, then look from the lenses of the Sahaba who saw him not with their eyes only, not with their basira from the inner eyes only, but they saw him with all three dimensions, and they saw with the ru'ya and the dreams and every single state that eyes could be seen. They saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's what they call, what you class as the optimum way of looking at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those are the ones who can just say it on their tongues, like me, fake in our claim. But there's those that were saying it, but they had a reality, because there was an outer tongue and an inner tongue of the heart that's also saying it. Like those that say Allah, Allah. In some of the Sufi traditions, that you have a dhikr which is said audibly, training your tongue to just become moist with the dhikr of Allah. And then you have dhikr which is silent. No one knows besides that person and Allah. The heart is beating and the inner tongue inside is saying Allah, Allah, Allah. It could be that the final moments of your life could be that your physical tongue is taken away from you. Allah protect us. But it could be that your inner tongue is still alive and it's been attuned and accustomed to saying the dhikr of Allah. Then it still says La ilaha illallah at that time. Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That's what we need to get. And it shouldn't be one-dimensional in our approach to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahaba would be with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam all day long, but despite that, when they were sleeping, they were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They've been away from him. Khalid bin Walid's miles and miles and miles away. Hazrat Umar ibn al-Khattab is on an expedition, but they can see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They can hear the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How can you explain that to the people who don't know? They think superficially and think only one-dimensionally. This is the kind of ru'ya that you need to see. May Allah give us that ru'ya. May Allah give us that basar and basira to see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that light. And likewise, to keep our tongues always moist with the dhikr of Allah and the dhikr of His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what the Shamail is. it's a glimpse into how they saw the Prophet ﷺ. Look at the amount of detail that they used to go into just to tell you the cuisine of the Prophet ﷺ, the foods of the Prophet ﷺ, where he would place things on his plate. I mean, how much ru'ya would you have to see? And some of them would be sitting, they couldn't even come close to the Prophet ﷺ. And if you were to look, the ulama mentioned that there was only about 5 or 6 that would be sitting in front of the Prophet ﷺ. And they would be able to bear some of the nur of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The others, Salman al-Farsi, right at the edge. Sayyidina Zayd would be right at the edge. They'll be waiting at the far ends, but they'll be noticing every little bit. Is it because their eyes were really good, or did they go Specsavers or whatever? And these are eyes that don't need eyes. They had something else that they were looking with. That they could see their Prophet despite the distances and people even in this day are still looking with that kind of a vision. May Allah make us of those, inshallah. This next hadith, وَأَكَلَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم, continues from the previous rawi. He says, وَأَكَلَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الْخُبْزَ بِالزَّيْتِ. وعن عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله تعالى عنه وأرضاه says قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كل الزيت والدهن به فإنه من شجرة مباركة. These two hadith have been brought. I left it out from the last week's session on purpose because it's of the connection of the mentioning of the same type of food. These two hadith are going to mention that the Prophet ﷺ ate bread with oil, or in this particular one, it comes in different riwayah. It tells you that it's zaytu zaytun. It's from the olive oil that he's speaking about. And Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu mentions in that next hadith, is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, eat olives and oil, and use the oil from it, because it has come from a blessed tree. That's the riwayah. So over here it says Ruya Abu Nu'aym fi Tib, and those of the atibba, those of the doctors of food, they mention in this beautiful chapter of a hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. It says كل زيت والدهن به فإن فيه شفاء من 70 داعا منها الجذام. So in this hadith is beautiful. This is going to increase your love for this olive oil. It says olive tree as well. It says eat the olive oil, the olive, and use the oil from it. For indeed it has cure from 70 illnesses that Allah has blessed. Minha judam, one of them is leprosy. One of them. That's just naming one of them, to name one. The rest of them, 70, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept it. And the ulama and atibba have worked it out, and they've used it on different trial and tested over the years to tell you that it's beautiful for upset stomachs, it's beautiful for hemorrhoids, it's beautiful for, it sorts other problems out of your stomach, of constipation, on headaches, migraines, and there's many things that ulama have listed. The Prophet ﷺ ate it, and that's why it became beautiful. Before that, it definitely came, as his next riwayah tells you, that eat it and use the oil because it comes from a blessed tree. That's an ishara towards shajaratin mubarakatin. The ayat of the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this beautiful tree, the olive tree, like the olive mount. May Allah bless this is the beautiful project of our teacher, inshallah, and bring it to fruition, inshallah, and completion, inshallah, very soon. That beautiful olive tree is neither from the east nor the west. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed it in a place that doesn't have any extremes, too cold or too hot. This is beautiful in a region of the world where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it so much barakah. Mainly where it comes from is from the middle part, which is going to be Syria, or the greater Syria, if you will. It's going to be classed as the middle part, where you're going to see Masjid al-Aqsa, alladhi barakna hawla. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that land Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed it with. Blessed the land with. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless it? If we looked at the historians, mapped it out, they said this hundreds and hundreds of anbiya that came and not just stayed there, not were buried there, but actually made dua They actually made dua for the blessed land. كُلُوا الزَّيْتِ وَادَّهِنُوا بِهِ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ. So this blessed Mubarak tree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, people use it, the branches for doing miswak, the darker colored miswaks. If anybody can get one, you should use it once at least in your life. It has a different kind of a flavor and a different kind of a barakah. In fact, the Sufis, when they use the dark colored ones from the olive tree, they said, because when you use it, it chases the shayateen away from you. They can't stand the smell. Even the oil, they say when people use it and apply it to their beards, that it keeps the shaitans away from you. That's the beauty of this blessed tree. And these just to, limit it into a few things that we can mention in such a short time. فَإِنَّهُ مِنْ شَجَرَةٍ مُبَارَكَةٍ. May Allah bless us with the use of this. And it's something which in the like the Indian Pakistani cuisine you're not going to see much of, but in the Moroccan cuisine no doubt, and the Arab cuisine definitely, that they use it as just a salad. So they'll put some prunes in, and they'll put some dates in, and they'll soak it in, and they'll have bread with that sunnah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You'd use that as the actual oil. And now they come in and tell you that there's the good fats and the bad fats. Beautiful fats are in the oil of that. Everything else to be used in moderation. That's why Imam Bajuri rahmatullah alayh, he says, فلا يرد أن الزيت ماء فلا يكون تناوله أكلا والدهن أمرا من الادهان والاستعمال الدهن. Imam Bajuri rahmatullah says, إدهن به من سائر البدن. He says, use it on your entire body, the oil. Whatever you want inside your body. وَأَمْثَالُ هَذَا الْأَمْرِ بِالْإِبَاحَةِ. But he's going to make a point here now, that use it in moderation. This shows permissibility to use it. أو ندب, or recommendedness as well. لِمَنْ وَافَقَ مِزَاجَهُ وَعَادَتَهُ. That's why, what the saying says, Neem Hakim Khatre Jan. He says, if you get an inexperienced doctor, is a danger for your life. That's exactly the point here, what he's trying to say. Imam Bajuri rahmatullah says, he says, somebody reading this will just say, I'm going to use oil. It could be that your temperament or your body nature might not be according to the heat or the coldness of the seed itself or the oil itself. So you have to use it and use it in moderation. So if you don't have somebody to tell you how much you need to use it in moderation, and that's the key. That's the way of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you have somebody who's a specialist in the field, then use it according to what he's prescribed for you. But it isn't just one medicine fits all. There's going to be, it could be beautiful for one person, but it could be harmful for the other person. وَقَدِرَ الْإِسْتِعْمَالِ كَمَا قَالِ Ibn Hajar. He says, like others of the ulama have told us, that those who use it in hot climates, use it over your body and use it frequently. That's going to be nafi' for you, it'll be beneficial for you. As for those who live in cold climates, use it ghibban, as the Prophet ﷺ would. The Prophet ﷺ would use it, and he instructed oil to be used ghibban, often, but not every single day. So use it once, leave once. Use once, leave one. Keep being frequent with it, and not using it all the time. And in moderation, there's always khair. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ السِّلْقَ مَطْبُوخًا. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this next one he says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ate chard, or I don't know how to pronounce that, madbukhan. Chard is what they class as, it's in between a beet and a spinach, if you will. It has long leaves that are green or red in color. So they usually cook that with wheat. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would use that. It's a long leafy kind of, it grows in the ground, so the bottom of it is going to be, they cook that as well, but they cook that separate from the leaves. So that's more like a beet that's underneath. And top of it is almost like really long leaves that come. And it's like a bumpy leaf. Find it if you can and use it. The Prophet would use that with wheat, and he would have it cooked. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ خَزِيرًا. The Prophet would eat khazira. And he's telling you what it is. وَهِيَ مَا يُتَّخَذُ مِنَ الدَّقِيقِ عَلَى حَيْئَةِ الْعَصِيدَةِ. And that is what you make from wheat, and it's like asida. So asida, what is asida? you get meat, you cut it into small pieces, it almost like making into like like coarse mince, if you will. Then you put wheat and ghee and you cook it into that. If it's with meat inside, that's what you call khazira. And if it's asida, that's without the meat. You can use it, and what they would do, either make into like a flat base or something, eat it with a spoon, or you can make into pieces and eat the pieces itself. That's almost like a mince. وَلَكِنَّهُ أَرَقَّ مِنْهَا. But the khazira is made more finer, the meat is made more smaller, if you will. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الْأُقْطَى. This is the beautiful one, my favorite hadith. It's the Prophet loved cheese. He ate cheese. وَهُوَ جُبْنُ اللَّبَنِ. It was cheese made out of milk that was curdled. The fat is taken out, is curdled. وَهُوَ أَشْبَهُ شَيْءٍ مِنَ الْكَشْكِ. That is likened to bulgur. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. So that means that it's not set. It's not like set cheese. Rather, it's like lumpy, small pieces of cheese. You'll need a spoon or something, or bread to take it away. It's almost like slightly runny, but it has pieces inside. So it's like like cottage cheese. It'll be something similar to that kind of, but it's more salty. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الرُّتَبْ وَالتَّمَرْ وَالْبُصْرِ. The Prophet ﷺ would eat ripe dates. There's your green light for that. وَالتَّمَرْ, dry dates. He'd also eat that. وَالْبُصْرِ, he would eat the green, the green colored ones, green, or the yellow ones, or the red ones. That's what it means of busr. That's what it means. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الكباث. الكباث وهو ثمر الأراك. So the arak is the tree that you get the roots are going to be made into, or the branches are going to be made into, the arak, the miswak. So it's the fruit of that tree. It grows in the deserts, it grows in the outskirts, never inside the towns. And that's what the Prophet ﷺ would eat. وَأَكَلَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم الْجُبْنِ. The Prophet ﷺ would eat cheese. I mentioned it twice now, so it's fadila. وعن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما قال أتي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بجبنة في تبوك. The Prophet ﷺ was presented some cheese when he was in Tabuk, on the expedition of Tabuk. فَدَعَا بِسِكِّينَ فَسَمَّ وَقَطَعَ. So the Prophet ﷺ ordered for a knife to be brought. He said Bismillah, Samma وَقَطَعَ, and then he cut into it. He made pieces and he ate of the pieces as well, and he gave the pieces out as well. It comes in the riwayah. So he would share the piece from one block. وَأَمَّا الْبَصَلِ, and that's the cheese part finished. I think it was tawfiq, inshallah. وَأَمَّا الْبَصَلِ, and as for the onions, وَرَوَى أَبُو دَاوُودَ فِي سُنَنِهِ, the Sunnah of Abu Dawud Sharif, and Aisha radiyallahu anha أنها سئلت عن البصل. Aisha she was asked with regards to onion. فقالت إن آخر طعام أكله الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم فيه بصل. This was the last of the foods that the Prophet ate. In it had onions. And he's going to clear a point here, because remember in another hadith we mentioned before that the Prophet said, don't come to our musalla, those who have eaten basal or any garlic, because the malaika have dislike the smells that you dislike. And this is telling that the Prophet ate. So they're clarifying it. وَالظَّاهِرْ أَنَّ هَذَا الْبَصْلِ كَانَ مَطْبُوخًا. The zahir of it, as we have to understand, is that this was a cooked dish. So the onions were cooked حَتَّى لَمْ يَبْقَى لَهُ الرَّائِحَةُ الْكَرِيهَةُ, until the smell of the onion is taken away. So when you're cooking, for the one who's cooking, he might get the smell, but the food itself doesn't have the smell left of it, as opposed to raw onions. وَيَدُلُّ عَلَى هَذَا قَوْلُهَا, and it's giving you the point here to understand when you analyze hadith. إِنَّ آخِرَ طَعَامٍ أَكَلَهُ فِيهِ بَصَلٍ. Because she said, radiyallahu anha, this was the last of the foods that he ate. In it was basal, onions. Not that he ate. وَلَمْ تَقُلْ أَكَلَ بَصَلٍ. She didn't say that he ate onions as the last thing, but it was a dish that was made that one of the ingredients inside, it contained onions. And that's something which we can understand. The Prophet ﷺ would always be around angels. Even when he was in the house of one of the Sahabis, that he says when food is brought, he said, "You eat it, not for me," and he was offended. He was upset. Sorry. That why is the Prophet ﷺ, not accepting our food? Is it something I've done? Have I done something wrong? So he asked him, and the Prophet ﷺ told him. He says, "No, because angels frequent, my gathering. So I like to be in a state where I'm being pleasant for them always." He would always have nice itar on, nice smells, always did the miswak. Even in the middle of the night, angels used to come and they would present themselves and give salams to the Prophet ﷺ in the night. So the Prophet ﷺ was always as in the role, if you will, that beautiful role, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَكَانَ أَحَبَّ السِّبَاغِ إِلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The most beautiful or best of condiments to the Prophet ﷺ was vinegar. And we've mentioned this before. And Aisha radiallahu anha, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال نعم الإدام الخل. What a beautiful, or the best of all of condiments is vinegar. So we should all get that inside our house. Don't take my word for it. Just look at these next few riwayat that are coming. If I can open the page. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma mentions, قال دخل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم فتح مكة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم entered on the day of Fath Makkah على هانئ. Famous hadith of enters in the house of Hani radiallahu anha. وكان جائعا. He was hungry. They've been traveling. فقال لها أعندكم طعام آكله. Do you have any food that I can eat? فقالت إن عندي لكسرا يابسة. I have a small piece of dry bread. فإني لأستحيي أن أقدمها إليك. And I'm shy that I could present it to you. فقال هلميها. He says, bring it, don't worry about it, the Prophet says. فكسرها في ماء. So he broke these pieces of dry bread, hard bread, in water, softened it. وجاءته بملح. And she brought him she came with some salt. فقال ما من عدام. Do you have any, so he's got bread, softened now, he's got salt. He says, do you have any condiments? Where's the salad? We need some salad here. فقالت ما عندي إلا شيء من الخل. I only have a little bit of vinegar. فقال هلميه. He says, bring the vinegar. فلما جاءته به. When she came and brought this vinegar, صبه على طعامه. He poured this over the food, yani the bread, with the salt. فأكل منه. And the Prophet ate from it. ثم حمد الله عز وجل. Then he thanked Allah, praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَثْنَى عَلَيْهِ. And he glorified Allah. ثم قال نِعْمَ الْإِدَامُ الْخَلْ. This is a famous hadith. He says, what a beautiful condiment is this vinegar. يَا هاني لَا يَقْفَرُ بَيْتٌ فِيهِ خَلْ. A house which has vinegar in will never taste poverty. Will never be touched by poverty. That's the hadith. Even if you don't like it, have it on your shelf. It has barakah inside it. It's beautiful just to have it. It doesn't finish there. وعن أم سعد رضي الله عنها قالت دخل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم على عائشة وأنا عندها. So the mother of Sa'd رضي الله عنها is mentioning that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم entered, came to Aisha رضي الله, and I was with her at that time. So she's going to give an eyewitness account. فقال هل من غداء. The Prophet asked, do you have any food for lunch? فقالت عندنا خبز وتمر وخل. He says, I've got bread, I've got dates, and I've got vinegar. فقال نعم الإدام الخل. So he mentions first, says, what a beautiful condiment is vinegar. Then he says the dua. Allahumma barik fil khal. Oh Allah, bless and have barakah. Give barakah inside vinegar. فإنه كان إدام الأنبياء قبلي. Because it is the condiments of all of the prophets that came before me. وَلَمْ يَكْفَرْ بَيْتٌ فِيهِ خَلْ. And a house will never be afflicted with poverty, the one that has khal inside and vinegar. After that, how can anyone not have it? Get it, inshallah, if you haven't got it. Put it on your sarcens, get whatever you can. وَهَذَا مَدْحٌ. It's the French, mashallah. They have so many different types. One for the salads, one for the main meals, one for the chips or whatever you have. And we have the one standard ones, but use it. And if you can, if you want to get artistic in your cooking, then try some of the balsamic vinegars or the sweet salad vinegars, or ones that you use with, just. And you can almost understand it how you mentioned it as a salad, because not all vinegars are bitter or sour. Some of them are really sweet, and you can almost use it as a thing to eat with the bread like a salad. And that's how we can understand maybe some of these hadith. It's not just about that, if we got a picture of saracens like malt vinegar and stuff, that's not the only one. There's some that are absolutely sweet that you can use with cheeses, that you can use on your salads, and it's beautiful. May Allah give someone tawfiq to send some in. وهذا مدح للخل بحسب الوقت. Now the Musannif alayhi rahmah ونفعنا الله بعلومهم says that this glory, how can I say, this praise of vinegar is according to its time. So wherever the Prophet was at the time, he praised it accordingly. كما قال ابن قيم. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi rahmatullah says, لا لتفضيله على غيره. So don't think that it's going to be the fadila that is given over other foods. Don't think it's like that. He's praising it at the time that it was context. بل هو جبر لقلب من قدمه له صلى الله عليه وسلم. This was to almost like endear the heart of the one who is presenting him this. If somebody comes to your house and you've got, say, sorry, I've got no salad, but I can give you some vinegar, and he says, what? I don't want, I want some karai gosh here and stuff. You give me vinegar. You'll feel offended. So that's all I've got. So some of the Sahaba, they were so poor there was dire needs themselves. They presented that. The Prophet made them feel so special and said, oh, I love this so much. Alhamdulillah, bring it. Because it's no house will. And he made a dua at that time. It's the ikhlas of the Sahaba that presented whatever they had. And it could have been just a passing, like a moment. But the Prophet ﷺ, whenever ihsan was done to him, he gave ihsan back. He gave more than he took. When they gave him that, he made a dua for the nations even after to benefit from that dua. Anybody who has that, they're going to be blessed by barakah because of the dua of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he says, وَتَطْيِيبًا لِنَفْسِهِ, and to endear the heart or of the person who's giving and make it nice. وَلَا تَفْضِيلًا لَهُ عَلَى غَيْرِهِ, not to show the superiority of vinegar over other foods. إِذْ لَوْ حَضَرَ نَحْوَ لَحْمٍ أَوْ أَصْلٍ أَوْ لَبَنٍ لَكَانَ أَحَقَّ بِالْمَدْهِ. Because if there was a comparison, or if meat or honey or milk was brought, then they would have definitely had the higher position, if you will. So if you look at ranks, there's, vinegar is not going to be higher than them three, but there's no doubt when that time came, he mentioned about this as well. And one thing that we know from other hadith, the Prophet never overpraised anything, and he never took aib out of anything overly. So it's like, this is really, but that was disgusting. He never would say anything like that. If he didn't like something, he would just abstain. If he liked something, he'd mention it, that I like this, or you'd see him searching for it, like we mentioned about pumpkin. But he never would overly do anything in excess. It's in measure. وبهذا علم أنه لا تنافي بين هذا وبين قوله بئس الإدام والخل. Because he's mentioned that, because this doesn't go contrary to the hadith, which mentions what a evil of a condiment is vinegar. Now some of the ulama, if as we know from the in Tirmidhi Sharif when it's mentioned, that he says Hazrat Shaykh Rahmatullah Alayhi mentioned that the sanad of this hadith is weak, and that's why we don't take this as a hadith. Others have said that it's weak hadith, and that's why they won't take it. The stronger hadith and the most evidence goes to ni'mal idam al-khal. What a beautiful condiment is khal. وعن أبي موسى الأشعري رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فضل عائشة على النساء كفضل الثريد على سائر الطعام. The superiority of Aisha رضي الله تعالى عنها وأرضاها upon all the other women is like the superiority of tharid over other dishes of food. That's what it means. Now, we know from other riwayat, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's other hadith that are going to tell you, فَلَا يَكُونَ أَفْضَلْ مِنْ خَدِيجَةٍ. The Hazrat Aisha certainly wasn't more superior than Khadija radiallahu anha. But Khadija أفضل على الأصح. According to the dominant riwayat and the majority of the ulama, Hazrat Khadija had the highest rank of all of them. Out of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لتصريح صلى الله عليه وسلم لعائشة بأنهم لم يرزق خيرا من خديجة. Because the Prophet told Hazrat Aisha, he told Hazrat Aisha, she says, who's your most beloved? Abu Bakr Siddiq, and then he mentioned Hazrat Aisha. He says, but I've never ever. He mentioned that, so he's not offending Hazrat Aisha radiallahu. He endeared her heart, but he says, but Allah did not bless me with anyone more better than Hazrat Khadija radiallahu. And she knew Hazrat Aisha, the rank is going to be that. Imam Bajuri says, Afdalun Nisa, and if you look in the whole of the generations, Maryam bint Imran is going to be standing in number 1. Thereafter, you're going to see Fatima az-Zahra radiallahu anha, second. ثم خديجة, then Khadija radiallahu, ثم عائشة التي قد برأها الله, the one that Allah has declared the innocence inside the Quran. And he mentions the poem, he says, فضل النساء بنت عمران ففاطمة خديجة ثم قد من قد برأه الله. It's a couplet to make you always remember them names, and it's in that order. Likewise, from Hazrat Fatima, you're going to see a rank that's above Aisha. There's no doubt. And riwayat are going to tell you, Sayyid al-Nisa'i Ahl al-Jannah. She's the leader of all of the the women in Jannah. Full stop. As is her children. As Imam Hassan and Hussein, Sayyida Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. They're going to be the leader of all the youth inside of Jannah. These are the ranks that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given on the tongue of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Back to our context, he's mentioning that as Thareed is going to be a beautiful quote. We mentioned about Thareed last week. When you put pieces of bread or whatever you have, a naan and stuff, you can break it in small pieces or whatever salad you have, and let it soak the sauce up, whatever, and you eat it like that. When Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu قال أولم رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم gave a walima. What was the walima of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم when he was married to Hazrat Safiya radiyallahu anha? What did he give? Did he give a 3-course meal? It's going to be chicken starters, and it's going to be biryani. Look at the simpleness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahu Akbar. Bitamrin wa sawiqin. He gave dates and he gave sawiq. Sawiq is what they call in Urdu, they call sattu. وَهُوَ مَا يُعْمَلُ مِنْ حِنْطَةٍ. It's made out of barley or wheat, and you mix it with, you ground it, you roast it, and then you put it in butter, and you roast it in that, so you make it into like a paste, if you will. And this next hadith is just where we're going to finish, inshallah. وَأَنْ سَلْمَى زَوْجِ أَبِي رَافِعٍ. Hazrat Salma radiallahu anha was the wife of Abu Rafi'. That was the Mawla of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the freed slave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abu Rafi'. One of the few that are going to be with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the time of his demise as well. And al-Hasan ibn Ali radiallahu anhu, the Hasan, the son of Ali, karramallahu wajha, and Ibn Abbas, and the Wabn Ja'far, the son of Sayyidina Ja'far radiallahu anhu, 3 of the sons of the Sahabas, right, comes to her. And he says, and these kids are going to say, because they are living in a time after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they come to Salma radiallahu anha. فقالوا اصنع لنا طعاما مما كان يعجب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Cook for us something that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to like in his time. You were there at his time. Make something that he used to enjoy. You were there, you saw everything. We didn't get to see this, so give us a glimpse of that. وَيُحْسِنُ أَكْلَهُ. And he used to like eating whatever this food was. فَقَالَتْ يَا بُنَيَّ. Look at this, Allahu Akbar. Times have changed. He says that time was a different time and you are a different generation. And if that's that time that she's speaking about, what about our time? She says, oh my dear children, لا يا بني لا تشتهي اليوم. He says what they liked, you ain't gonna like today. Because it isn't the luxurious foods that you have become accustomed to. That's what she's saying. قال بلى اصنعيه لنا. He says, no, but it's what he likes, so we like as well. Just make it, please. These little kids are begging. You can almost see this picture, this unfolding in front of you. فقامت, so she stood up. فأخذت شيء من الشعير. She took some barley. فطحنته, then she grounded it. She made it into flour. ثم جعلته في قدر. She put it in a pot. وصبت عليه شيء من زيت. And then she put some oil inside. This is the recipe. ودقت الفلفل والتوابل. And then she crushed some fulful, or filfil as we say, is going to be what? Chilies. والتوابل, and spices. Tawabil is also like a pepper or chili. It's a bigger type of chili, if you will. فقربته إليهم. So she's made this with all this chilies and spicy food now, and she's made it, she's presented it to them. فقالت هذا مما كان يعجب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ويحسن أكله. This is what the Prophet ﷺ used to like and he enjoyed eating. Allah. So then he mentions قوله التوابل. What is tawabel? Here أدوية حارة يؤتى بها من الهند. It is spices or a little chili which is hot in taste, which is brought over from India. وقيل إنها مركبة من الكزبرة والزنجبيل والكمون. Or you can say, so fulful is the chili if you will, and tawabil is going to be another, which is a mixture of spices, which is made from kazbara, which is coriander, zanjabil is ginger, and kammun is cumin. And they mix all them up, and she's added that into this dish. That's all it was. Look how simple the food was. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If that generation of children that came after were finding that too simple, what about us? You know, the simple foods of the Prophet ﷺ in this time, because of the artificial colors and flavorings that we become so accustomed to, we wouldn't even, we're classed sometimes that is inedible for us. That's how times have changed. May Allah keep us always grounded in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. وَيُؤْخَذُ مِنْ هَذَا أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يحب تطيب الطعام, and the hadith finishes there, and they act from that. And then the connection to this, أنه صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يحب تطيب الطعام بما تيسر. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم would adorn his food or embellish his food بما تيسر وسهولة. That would make the food easier to look more edible, or to make it easy for chewing, etc., etc. وَأَنَّ ذَلِكَ لَا يُنَافِي الزُّهْدِ. And this doesn't take away from his abstention from the dunyawi things, to make it more beautiful, to add something that's going to make it more yusal, or make it more easy to swallow, etc. It doesn't mean adding flavors or colors to make it more fancy, or spending thousands on to make it, the decorating it. It doesn't mean that, but it means that he would use things that would make it more easily chewable, or to something that would be, like something that was more coarse. You'd make something out of butter to make it flow down your throat a bit more better, and that's what the Prophet ﷺ would do. We'll continue with these blessed hadith, inshallah, mentioning some more of the cuisine of the Prophet ﷺ. May Allah give us tawfiq, inshallah, to act upon these and to bring these cuisines into our lives, and always keep ourselves in those that are moderate like the Prophet ﷺ, to stick to the middle path, avoiding the extremes of too less or too much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us health and give us barakah in our rizq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like the dua of the Prophet ﷺ for khal, may Allah use that as a means of bringing barakah into our homes. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take away all those the things which will take away barakah from our homes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring those feet into our homes that sit on our dasarkhans and our tables, that will bring the barakah in and bring the sunnah into our homes, and the light and the nur of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam into our homes. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.